Welcome in, everybody. We're here with the 2026 Fantasy Football Expo live podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to our sponsors. We're going to talk to fans. We're going to talk to brands, everybody and anybody who attends the expo. And we're going to get their thoughts and their opinions, and we're going to talk about them. So tonight, I bid adieu to, we have, he spent 4 decades building brands at the highest level, and now he's helping fantasy sports brands do the same. Scott Hoyt, who is our founder of Fantasy Sports Strategies, has become a go-to voice for companies to grow, scale, and stand out in a very crowded space, as we all know, and now creating and hosting a platform for brands, companies, products, and business strategy to be showcased. Under the Hoodie podcast. And actually, Scott, last year we battled it out in the IBT Draft Night Out League. I think we both felt really good about our drafts, and it did not end that way.
Yeah,
it's great to have you here. How are you?
Yeah, Amber, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk any type of sports with you guys. It's especially good to see you again. And speaking
Absolutely.
of that draft, it's and I think I've told this to several people. 2025 was maybe collectively, I use the word collectively because they did have some wins, but it's collectively the worst season. And I've been playing fantasy football for over 35 years. And there's a whole host of reasons behind some of the the pitfalls that I found myself in last year. But you know what? Here's the good news. 2026 is a new year. And wipe the slate clean. I am ready to wipe the slate clean. I need to get over 2025. So I'm ready to roll.
I'm telling you, and I agree with you. Wasn't it? It was the most cleansing feeling to remove all of those redraft leagues from my sleeper portal, right? Like just to like archive. And like I had to unarchive our league to pull it up to see how we both did. And yeah, that was not pretty. So
Well, and I think like you always walk out of a draft going, yeah, I got a good team.
Yeah.
And then the games start. And then the weeks start. And then the injuries happen. And then the bad performances. And then you just, oh my God.
It was brutal. So, I mean, leading into that, so like you said, you've been playing for 35 years. So you've been around the fantasy sports realm now for 4 decades, right? So
Yeah.
what's kept you connected to the game all of this time?
Well, it's funny you say that because I grew up, even in my childhood, in a sports family. We're always either playing it, going to it, being involved in sports in some form or fashion. And I played sports as a child and then back into high school and into college. So sports was always in my DNA. And it wasn't until 1989, I was part of the fax generation of the fantasy footballers.
Right.
We were fax in our lineups. But I was working in Seattle, Washington, and I was the head of marketing and had a lot of friends in the media business. And one of the media guys came up to me and said, "Hey, we're going to form a fantasy football league. You want to join?" And I thought, what the heck is that? And I'm in. Whatever it is, count me in. Let's do it. Let's have some fun. That was 1989. Amber, that league still exists today. And there's 2 of us that are the remaining founders of that league. It's a 10-team league, and we still exist.
Wow.
So that's what started the passion around fantasy football, and it grew from there. It became 1 league, 2 leagues, 4 leagues, 5 leagues, different platforms, automation through the platforms, information through these platforms, data coming to you, feeding to you. You kept getting bigger and better and more educated and more involved. And all of a sudden, you are ingrained. And now today, last year, I participated in about 38 different leagues.
Woo.
Yet, it felt like I participated in 3 because I'm so used to the cadence.
Yes.
And the fun of it and the excitement of it. And, this whole time I'm playing fantasy sports, I'm also trying to grow my career as a marketing executive. And people who know me know that I was able to balance that very well. And my wife would tell you that she typically has to reintroduce, or I have to reintroduce ourselves, sometime in mid to late January after I leave in early August, because it's, as I say, hey, I tell her it's really only 18 weeks of the season. It's only
Yep.
18 weeks. And she says, no, it's not. And she's right. Now it's become, as you know, it's become almost a 52-week obsession around fantasy sports, and football is, of course, the dominant. So it's probably a long-winded answer to your question, but I love the fantasy sports, the entertainment factor of it.
Yeah.
There is a skill to it. So there is that, if you have that competitive spirit, and people who know me know as I'm as competitive as the next person.
I believe it.
I I had a baseball coach, and I take this, and this is a great quote. I use it today, and he would say to the team, I hate to lose more than I like to win.
Mm,
And I thought about that for that. You know what? And that really rings true when you talk about fantasy football and fantasy sports. And so the losing part is horrible. That's why this past year was just horrible for me. But
it was tough.
yeah,
It was really tough to watch. It's there's the bragging rights. It's not about the money. It's not. It's the bragging rights, but it's the confidence within yourself. You're like, I did that because it's not easy. That's the thing. Like it is a hobby, yes, but it also is a career for a lot of us, and a lot of people do the career part for fun. And that's where we've got so many brands coming into the game, which is something that you get to take your career, your entire life's work, right? And now you get to help everybody build. And I wish I would have known more about your career before last week, because I was like, I didn't realize how much extensive history that you have in marketing and brand building, and like that's something that I really and that's what the expo needs too, right? I love doing it. I love connecting people, and I think that's a big part of branding is like, are you about community? Because everybody's like searching and really hunting for community now, And I
well, and our industry, as you know, is all about community and the connection in that community. And we are family. Even though we are sitting across the table from competitors in some cases, we are family, and we take that relationship extremely serious. And it's one that you'll always connect with those people, regardless of the topic or regardless of the controversy. And it's an industry that continues, as you know, to grow, to innovate, and build. And
yes,
I'm always a big believer that you do that through relationships and through building that community. And that's the fundamentals of building a brand as well. Just so you know, that's how a brand works. And I could
yeah.
give you many, many corporate examples over the years of how brands have really turned themselves into a community. I don't know if you were in Vegas, weren't you?
I didn't go this session, which was really sad because I was like, and I got texts from a lot of people. They're like, "Where are you?" I was like, had to take a break, guys. I went to Media Row for Super Bowl this year, so
Maybe that's what I'm always used to seeing you everywhere. So
yeah, I know.
maybe I just thought I saw you there, but
Oh, 100%. I'm sure. Hop, skip, and a jump. I'm all over the place. You find me everywhere.
I
So
know. Well, I moderated a panel on brand, and
yeah,
I started off by talking about a case study, and I used Nike as that example. And if you talk about the most iconic sports brand of our I think of our generation,
yeah,
I truly believe that in a lot of different ways. But I talked about the case study of Nike, and they truly built a community. They built a community through what? Just do it.
just do it.
Just do it. And that was their iconic moment. That was their aha moment. That was an industry that was highly competitive. They were competing at the time with Converse and Adidas. They were probably somewhere in the middle of that. They had about a 16% share of that market.
Oh wow.
They launched Just Do It, and their very first commercial was by an 82-year-old guy running the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's look it up. It's the very first commercial, and I talked about this in Vegas. But my point is they use it to build community. They use it through trust of their brand. And by the way, 10 years later, they had a 42% share. By what?
Whew.
By building their brand and building the trust of a community with their brand. And that's very similar to what I think we experience as an industry in the fantasy sports ecosystem, in the gaming industry. and all the innovation that's out there. So, I mean, I could speak for hours on this
Oh,
subject.
I'm sure. And that's the thing is you can tell that you absolutely love it, right? And these are the things that we love on the business side. For anybody who's brand new here or watching, as we speak to the sponsors for the expo, it's really important that you understand that like we've built this community of us behind the scenes, and we've got people who have so much experience teaching us that don't have as much experience on how to do this and how to move around in the system. And then also then we find ways to bring more people into it, whether it be fans that want to get involved. We create quote unquote internships for people to come. And I don't want to call them that, but it's the easiest way to explain it. And so that it'll lead me to my next question before we jump in. I mean, Under the Hoodie is obviously like something really important that we want to speak about, but FSGA. So we spoke about that. And just to let the listeners know as well, is like it's the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association conference, and there's 2 a year. And for me, it was the most magnificent time. I felt like I was riding a high from leaving both of them for months, and I was so sad not to go in February. It was so hard not to go. It was really like putting your foot down. It was like saying no to a league. You're like, oh god. Yeah. But with FSGA, so you're on the board of directors, correct?
I just got elected about.
Congratulations!
Thank you.
Yes, well deserved. And being on the board of directors now, do you want to explain the FSGA? And I know it's for businesses and how can the community aspect be brought into that? And then I don't know if were you able to attend the event at the expo last year, the FSGA mixer?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. That room was tiny. I thought I saw you there.
Yeah. I was there. I was Digger's right hand man at that time.
Yes.
I didn't miss that. Yeah. The FSGA is really singular voice behind fantasy sports and the gaming. It's the connector. It brings the community together. Now we bring it together twice a year in these conferences, but it really expands 52 weeks out of the year because of the programs that we have and the communications that we put together, the research that we do. And it's always been built, the FSGA has always been built, and you know this very well, that the conference is 2 days of pure networking.
Yes.
But you also learn a whole lot of things that are going on. It's very topical, and based on where the industry is moving, those are typically the topics that get discussed. This past in February, we talked about, guess what? Prediction market. You knew that was going to be on the.
Yeah, exactly. I saw the brand and AI as well, like so much.
And AI. Those were, and we knew that those two topics were going to be at the top of everybody's mind, and of course it was. And so we had experts come and talk about these particular things, and it was well received. And of course, then we do the elevator pitch, which is really maybe one of the most fun events that the FSGA does every year, where a business, an early stage company gets up. You know how this works. They give 3-minute pitch to the audience of 200-300 people.
Yeah, easily.
Who they are and what they're doing. And that is a very nerve-wracking thing to be able to get that done in 3 minutes. And it was very, very well done this year. And so, there was just a lot of cool things about how we bring the community together. And the FSGA and the conference is really I think the culmination point of bringing that community together. But it does expand beyond that. And we announced the Matthew Berry Game Changer Award to Clay Walker, who I had a chance to interview afterwards on the FSGA podcast. What a great guy. We all owe him a debt of gratitude for what he did. And you and I wouldn't be talking here without his work that was done.
Absolutely.
So anyway, like I said, if we had 3 hours to talk tonight, we could talk more about this.
Oh, we could totally. Yeah. And I guess we'll tie it into the FSGA being present at the expo being present at FSGA, and bringing all of that together. We are now, there's this, Bob really wants to drive home that it's for the fans, but also for brands and creators to connect with, larger companies, smaller companies, because content creators need a place to put their content, or to make content for people. And I think that that's really important. And I, for you, from a marketing standpoint and a branding standpoint, how would you go about, if you're at the expo and you're a content creator, whether a writer or you do video or even just graphics on social media, how would you go about approaching a company to show them your work? Do you have any advice on that?
Well, yeah. So it's funny because I think I told I think I told Bob when I saw him in Vegas, I said, can you just put me on your sales staff? Because I'm your biggest salesperson when it comes to the expo.
Yes.
Because as you know, my main focus is to help the small creator, the early stage company. And I always tell people, even though it's a B2C in some cases, or B2B at the FSGA, the expo is really a true B2C. But I tell these companies, if you want your voice heard, if you want to talk about what you're doing, some of the creative things that you're out there doing, go to the Fantasy Football Expo because that's where the true fans are going to sit and they're going to listen to you. So how do you get your voice heard? Well, there's a lot. You guys put on a great program.
Mhm.
Sponsor a panel. Go get a booth. Do a meetup. Attend all the events. Do
Yep.
everything you possibly can to get your voice out there. Because I always tell people, when you're a small company, you are the company. It's your voice, your name's attached to it. You are it. So when you're talking to them, like you and I are talking one to one, you're talking to me. I'm Fantasy Sports Strategist. I am the brand. I'm the voice behind Under the Hoodie. So I have to be on brand all of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. And I
And
don't
but it also, just like you said, it comes naturally because of the way that we love the game, right? I talk about the expo again, like it's my day job, constantly, consistently. And for me, the small creators, like I've been trying to bridge the gap from the Instagram world over, and so that's something we're working on, right? Let's get some of that video. Let's get some of those people mixed into these groups that they're not aware of. When I stepped into this, it was a hobby, and I'm not here to talk about me, but just because we both love what we're doing, again, building a small creator, there's so many people out there like, how do I go? What do I need to do? Like, how do I get connected with these people? And I'm like, just show up. I'll help you get there.
Yeah, and that was really the driver behind me creating my little advisory group, which was to help these companies who have great ideas and they have great passion and they potentially, in a lot of cases, have great technology, but they're missing maybe another element, a strategic element, whether it's branding, whether it's marketing, whether it's digital creation or content. So I can help them kind of create that path. And that's what I'm doing is I'm helping the small entrepreneur kind of build a better path for them. And again, I think the expo is a piece of that path. And I
Yeah.
say to people, if you're not creating social media content, do it and do it at the expo. That's the best place to get it. Go do it and it's again, I love what you guys are doing. It's if you are in fantasy sports, especially in fantasy football, if you're not in Canton in July, you're missing out.
Yeah, it's going to be, and it's ever changing, always growing. It started out as just a like, let's get some people together for some fun, and I mean, and look where we're at now. And with that, so let's talk about. So Under the Hoodie is the sponsor to this redraft panel, right? The redraft
Yep.
strategies panel.
Yep.
So we have panels on Expo Sunday, just to let everybody know. Anybody new here, and obviously you chose the strategies. Are you a redraft fan over Dynasty, or was it just that was the panel that you thought would be the best for you to showcase your skill set?
I think both. I think both. I'm a fantasy or a fan. I am a fan of redrafts because of as I just talked at the very beginning of this, I had a horrible 2025 in redraft. So now I could guess what I could do. I could wipe that slate clean.
It's clean.
Whereas in Dynasty, I might not necessarily be able to do that.
Oh, it's bad.
I know. And so I never really became a huge Dynasty fan, but I should. I'm a big redrafter. I'm a big best ball person too. Oh my
Who
God.
doesn't love a ton of best ball?
Oh my God. I have so many of it. And I usually do it early in the season because it helps me kind of understand trends a little bit more real time. So, for me, the redraft panel was really the right way to go. Bob and I chatted, and I said, Bob, I told him in Vegas, I just want to be a sponsor on something.
Yeah.
Where do you think it would fit? He says, why don't you sponsor a panel discussion, which I love doing. And I said, great, sign me up. Yeah, here, let's just do it, and we'll figure out which one it is. And then a couple weeks later, we figured out we do this one. And I love a redraft. So I don't know who's on the panel. Doesn't make any difference, but we'll have fun doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'll figure out who's going to be on the panel either right before. I mean, who knows? You could just throw some dice and then just see what happens too, because everybody's going to have a great conversation about that. Now, us women, we like to plan ourselves out a little bit, so we were very
Well,
strategic. Speaking of
I have to,
strategy,
yeah, I have to say that I thought the best panel last year was all the women up there on that stage.
I
I
gotta
thought,
give kudos to Rachel Tootsie Pop. She was
oh,
a master of planning it, and all the women up there. I was literally sitting there trying to watch,
yeah,
listen to the people I was speaking with because I was like, but I want to be on the other side. So yeah,
yeah,
again,
it
not
was.
about me.
I love that panel. I've got good friends. I mean, Comedy's a good friend of mine.
Oh,
And
she's the best.
yeah, and so
That's one of the episodes I watched actually because Comedy is a great friend of mine as well. She became my first friend at my first FSGA.
oh, cool.
Yeah, and we stay in contact constantly. And I
Yes,
was like, I saw that she was running for the to be on was to be on the board. Yeah,
she
and
did
so
it.
I
She was
was like,
elected as well. She
I
and I were both
know.
elected together. So yeah, we're thrilled. We talk quite often. In fact, we're helping her mom create a podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Mom's doing a podcast, so we're helping her create that.
I know I got to catch up with her for sure. So speaking of, so you had her on, and then you had, let's see, you had Gritty, and you've had, well, you had Howard Bender,
I did.
right?
I did Howard. We did a special Super Bowl edition, and it was right before the Super Bowl to get his take on it. But we also kind of reviewed the fantasy, year backwards as well. It was a lot of fun. And Howard said to me, and you probably know Howard. He's such a great guy, very humble guy, and just willing to do anything. He said to me, "I could do this, but I could probably only give you about 30 minutes." I said, "We don't need more than 30 minutes. We
No.
were on for an hour."
Oh, easily. Yeah. You're just having a
And
good time.
we had so much fun, as he calls it, chopping it up. We
Oh
were
yeah, you're
chopping it
chopping
up.
it up. See, here's a secret, little known, well, a secret amongst, so like Wendy early, I was like, you have to introduce me to Howard. And then every year that I've gone to the expo, I'm like, is Howard coming? And Bob's like, no. And I'm like, Howard, I'm out to meet you, sir. Like in person. He's been since I started properly playing fantasy football. Again, accidentally got invited to a live draft, and that's all she wrote. And Howard is definitely somebody that I followed for my fantasy advice. Being in the car in LA all day long, I just really
Yeah,
look forward to his show. So
yeah,
and again, that's where we get our love is like who we listen to. I listen to a million people, but Howard's who I want to hear.
it is, and that like you, anytime I'm in my car, it's on the Fantasy Channel. It's on channel 87. I'll sit back.
87.
It's on. It's just programmed on 87, and I listen to it regardless if I'm going to Starbucks for 20 minutes or I'm on the road for 2 hours.
I'm
Listen,
telling you, I work remote now, and I'm like, what do I do? I just have to put it on the app. So
and if I'm not in my car for a day or two, I'll just get online and put on my earbuds in and listen to it because there's some guys that gals that I really love listening to. And Howard was always one that I migrated to. And Howard actually interviewed me. I was at an FFPC event in Vegas several years ago, and I came out of the draft and they pulled me aside. I did an interview with him, and I'm a big Bears fan. I grew up in Chicago, and I had all this Bears stuff
me
on.
too.
Typically, people when you go to these drafts, you wear your school colors, so to
Yeah.
speak. And pulled me aside and he says, "Well, let me take a look at your draft." That was the one team that I drafted. He looks at it, he goes, "Wait a minute, you're a Bears fan, right?" He says, "I said, yeah. Why? How come you have all of these Lions and Packers and Vikings on your team?" I said, "Because I'm a smart man, Howard. That's why. You draft with your brain, not with your heart." So we laughed at it. But we were friends. We've been friends ever since. So it's
Oh, I love that. And I love getting that question too. It's like people, when they first start playing, they're going to draft, not necessarily like I've taught actually quite a few women how to play this past year. And it's that similar thing where they're like, I'm watching them draft and I was like, I can't save you. I
no.
can help, but I can't save you. So I'm with you on that.
And by the way, fantasy
Yeah.
football exists in my family, and I have two daughters. My
Yes.
oldest daughter is a huge fantasy football nut, huge, just huge. So she loves this game, and she knows it pretty darn well. I'm pretty proud of what she's done. So
I love that. And I love that you've gotten them into that. And have they attended the expo before or will
no,
they?
but my son-in-law, her husband, is one of my partners in one of my big high stakes leagues. He wants to come, so I'm going to try to get him to come with me in July. So she would love it. But her day job is very taxing, so she'd be hard to get away. But she would absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to kind of move around that. And when you're working, because it's you got to come in on Thursday or Friday, and then you kind of miss, so you're missing work. So I get it. But this year it was moved up 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but I feel much more comfortable with those dates.
I do as well. I don't feel like everything's so squeezed now between things that I've got to do in August, and I've got this, and I've got an FSGA conference in Philly the early part of July. So I think scheduling wise, it's great.
Exactly. And then that leads us to let's see, how should we wrap? Well, actually, let's talk about Under the Hoodie. I know we talked
Yeah,
about who we've
yeah,
had on. So let's really get into that. Let's dive into that. That's the main bread and butter here.
yeah. So Under the Hoodie was really again, I'm a branding guy. So one of the things that I thought when I created this little advisory group is that what's the best way to really accentuate what I'm doing or what we're doing. And as you know, creating content is a big piece of try to be a big piece of how you communicate externally. And so I said, let's do a podcast. And everyone said, oh, do a podcast? Everybody does a podcast. I said, okay, I'm not everybody, and that's okay. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to have fun with this, and I mean it's going to be unique. And that was my vision: is let's have fun with it. Let's be unique. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be on brand. And so I hired a producer. He's a younger guy that I know. He's the son of the dad who I've known for years professionally. Does a great job. And so the whole vision behind it, as I think I told you in the beginning, was I am interviewing voices in our industry who have who've got great stories to tell, a journey to tell right now about their startup or their early stage company. What are some of the things that they did well? What are some of the things that they would recommend not doing again? And really talk about, really diving deep. So there you go. Now there's the brand. So if you dive deep, what do? So you got to go, if you think you use the car, you kind of go under a hood and examine what's driving the engine. If that engine's broke, how do you fix it, or how do you fine tune it, or what's the maintenance behind that? There's a lot of pieces under that hood. So that's what we do. So we thought, well, we could do under the hood. I thought, wait a minute. That's everyone knows that. That's easy. So then I started thinking, wait a minute, I'm always in a hoodie.
Yeah.
Let's just play. That's exactly always in a hoodie. Well, let's play on that a little bit because that's my persona. That's my
Yeah.
personal brand. So it now has the second leg of that stool. First leg is unfiltered, under the hood conversations. The second one is I'm gonna be doing it in a hoodie and we're gonna have fun. And so that was the whole vision behind it. And Amber, I got to tell you, I never expected to get the type of fun publicity that's getting, because people, one, love the name.
Oh, it's so good.
I love the name. And in fact, I had to, after week one, literally, I had to get a hold of an attorney really quick and said, I need to trademark this. And I did. Got it trademarked before it got too late. And so I've trademarked it, and we're rolling now, and we're doing one a week and having a lot of fun with it. And probably we'll start doing 2 a week at some point down the road. And we'll do special edition type of podcasts. For example, next week I've got a friend of mine who's in our business, who is expertise. You probably know. Do you know Matt Korn? DFS Dashboard. So Matt has got a really cool deal going on the golf side. So we're going to do a Masters special on Tuesday, and he's going to talk about DFS and the Masters. Who are some of the big guys to win the Masters? And we're going to do a Masters special, similar to how I did a Howard Bender Super Bowl special. I also have got Howard lined up again to do a post NFL draft special. I've got who else I got? I don't know if you know Eric Balky at FFPC.
Yeah.
He's going to do a post draft with me as well. So I got a lot. I'm booked now through the end of May. I'm going to talk with Bob. What Bob and I are going to do. He's going to come on in probably late June to build up the expo, and we're going to talk about the expo. So I got a lot of cool stuff happening, and never expected to be this popular and this much fun.
I'm telling you, the name itself, I was like, man, that's genius. Because we're in the day and age now where we don't have to dress it to the nines for everything,
Oh,
anymore.
exactly. Yeah.
And it's fantastic. And especially like, I mean, it's like football and sports, everything's chill and lax. Even FSGA, we dress professionally, but you can still dress down a bit. You know what I mean? Because it's still sports and gaming related. We dress it up a bit, but
Well, and at the FSGA conference, I was moderating a panel. So I'm on stage, big stage, and it's kind of a business casual. Guess what I was in? I was in a hoodie.
absolutely.
But it was a nice hoodie. It was a
Yeah,
nice hoodie, and there's pictures of it. It's very very well done. And Jeff Ratcliffe's in a sport coat. I'm in a hoodie.
exactly. And well, that's the thing. There's a way to pull it off. And also I believe that certain people have earned to do whatever they want. And I think you're one of those people, sir. I
Well,
must say.
I appreciate that, and again, I'm going to be me. I'm going to be unique. I'm going to
Yes.
be me, and I'm not going to I'm going to default always to that.
Fantastic. All right. So if we have one piece of advice for, let's say, a brand new brand, besides coming to you for help.
Well, there it is. So you've already answered the question.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I did. So I think we're done. All right, we're done here, guys. No, I guess let's end on this. What is one of the biggest mistakes that you could say that you've seen over the years for a company just starting out, low capital or no capital?
Yeah. So I think there's two things that I see that young companies are challenged with. One is they try to do too much too soon. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is they want to be all things to all people. I always tell people, focus on what you do best. And if that's what you do best, then that's how you build your business. And from that point, that's advice number one. Build it that way. Advice number two is if you don't have a plan B or a plan C or a plan D, get them. Because you will, today might look like this. A year from now, you're going to turn around and go, wow, that was very different than what I expected. So expect the unexpected. Learn the word pivot because you're going to have to do that quite often. So those are the two pieces that I always tell people. Do what you do well. Don't be all things to all people. Do it the best you can and make sure that you always have a backup plan.
All right. All right. You heard it from the best. Now tell everybody where they can find you, where they can find the podcast, and how to get in touch.
Yeah, so anybody can email me at any time. It's scott@fantasysportsstrategies.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. I will always respond to people on LinkedIn. Send me an email. My phone number's on there. Text me. And Under the Hoodie is found, the actual full Under the Hoodie episodes are found in the typical spots, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. And you will see us all over social media. We typically do about 30, 60, 90-second snippets from each one of these over a period of a week after we've recorded and edited. So, and anytime anybody who wants to talk about sports, fantasy sports, whatever it is, give me a buzz. I'm always available.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you again for joining me. And again, if you want to meet Scott, bring your butt to the expo because all you got to do is walk up to anybody and everybody there, shake their hand, and introduce yourself.
And thank you for. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you and what you have done and the passion that you guys have and it's always fun talking to you and I love coming. The expo is probably my favorite event of the year. Don't tell the FSGA that, please.
Right.
Oh, maybe
they're different. So
it's different, and we're going to do an FSGA meetup there, like we did last year. We did it at the bank vault, if you recall.
It was very cool.
Yeah, cool. We're going to do it again this year.
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate the time tonight. Appreciate talking to you. We could talk for hours.
I know.
I'll buy you a drink when we're in Canton.
Hey, that's right. All right, guys. See you later.